In this video, coming to you from the Nerd Bunker, for reasons which I will explain, I'm going to talk about the models that are in the new Indomitus box and how they might relate to Kill Team. So I was going to do a normal video from the studio, as I have been doing now for years, but that's the storage room right next to where I actually shoot. That's where I keep a lot of equipment. Luckily, not a lot was ruined, but we're going to be down here in the basement for this one. So I've been spending some time with the models from the new Warhammer 40,000 9th edition Indomitus box, and this little book here, which is called The Edge of Silence, and this has got all of the stats in it, the data sheets, the data cards, the data slates, whatever you want to call them, for all the models that come in this new box. The models are great. I've been working on the Necrons. I've been doing it on my Twitch channel. I'm streaming Friday mornings. You should come check it out. And I've been looking, as I've been working on these models, I've been also looking at their stats and their information. And I might play some 9th edition Combat Patrol, which I've talked about on a couple other previous videos. Combat Patrol being the 500 point, smaller, kind of small game, but still normal 40k. You're moving in squads, not singular, models. There's vehicles and all kinds of potential things that you could get within 500 points / 25 power level or whatever. And so, like I said, I might do that, but I'm more of a Kill Team player and have been for quite some time. So I thought to myself, well, of the models that are in this box, which there are many and they are awesome, which ones do you think I might get actually to have in Kill Team? Now, I don't have any kind of insider information. This is one of those videos where I kind of make predictions, and then sometimes later on down the road, people accuse me of being psychic or whatever, and that's never my intention, or is it? But I went through the models that are in this box because they've got all these different stats for the most part. Than some of them. There's some of them that are completely new, but a lot of them, like the Captain, Primaris Captain is kind of like the other Primaris Captains. It's just that this one's got some different stats and different weapons and things. The stats are basically the same, but the weapons are different, things that Primaris Captains haven't had before necessarily, and so it's kind of a neat thing. Anyway, this is mostly aimed a little bit more towards close combat stuff with the Judicar and the Blade Guard veterans and all that kind of stuff, and that's really cool, and I'm interested in trying to put some of that stuff into my Kill Team, specifically the Assault Intercessors. I really want Assault Intercessors, so I started going through and looking at these information stats and these information stats. This is the core book, and then also looking at elites and also even looking at commanders and trying to figure that out, and even some of the new Kill Team Annual 2019, and comparing and contrasting the information in this one and trying to figure out whether or not some of these models or all of these models or potentially none of these models, spoiler, not none of these models will make it into Kill Team, but some of them might not make it at all. So I got my notes, and I'm going to start with the Primaris Captain because it's the first one that's in the book of the data sheets, data slates, data cards, whatever they are. And the Primaris Captain probably going to end up as commanders. So the downside, unfortunately, even though he's that super cool guy with the big shield with the skeleton stuck to the front of it and all that stuff, it's probably going to be like I said, a commander's model. And the downside to that is that I don't know anybody generally who plays commanders, sadly. It's a cool concept, and I liked the concept in the book when it came out and everything, but I just don't know anybody who really plays commanders. Around here, we play the core book, we play elites. Sometimes we grab some bits from the elites, but still stick to the normal core rules. Sometimes we go full-blown elites and the whole deal. But yeah, commanders, I don't know. So this Primaris Captain is nearly the same as the one in the commander's book, for as far as the actual stats and all that kind of stuff, strength, toughness, and all that. But what they'll do is they'll just release a new Kill Team Primaris Captain data sheet. And it will have all of the same stats, and it'll have all of the current weapons, plus it will add these new weapons that he carries, the master-crafted power sword and the heavy bolt pistol and all that kind of stuff. So that stuff, and of course the shield, which will be very interesting to see as well. So if he does happen, I think it's going to be in commanders only. So he will be a commander, meaning he'll have the 4 different power levels or whatever they're called and all that kind of stuff. And then you'll pay different points depending on which level he's going to be at. Basically going right over and saying the same stuff again, Primaris Lieutenant going to be a commander because it's already a commander in the commander's book, and the stats are the same. The only difference is the weapon loadout. So they'll probably come out with an updated thing, potentially in the next Kill Team Annual, or they'll do something. Maybe it'll be a White Dwarf, and that will be okay, but what will happen is it'll be basically the same Primaris Lieutenant that we're all, we all love and enjoy. It'll just have a couple new weapon choices, and it'll be the ones that come out of the Edge of Silence from the new Indomitus box, so more close combat oriented, and that'll be fine. But again, commanders, which means I don't probably see myself, unfortunately, ever playing it. Primaris Chaplain, again, going to be a commander. The Primaris Chaplain actually is exactly like, he's got the exact same weapon loadout as the one that's already in the commander's book for Kill Team. He has got the same exact, the Crozius and the whole thing and all that jazz. So there's no difference there. There's not even going to be like a thing where it says, oh, here's the different loadout with the new stuff that comes out in, Edge of Silence. Instead, it's just going to be the same guy, and you just get to choose which one of the 2 sculpts that you like. And for me, honestly, if I was going to actually ever be able to play him again, to play one of those models, I don't know which one I would pick, because I like the old one. I like the Primaris, Chaplain that came out in its own little box a while back. I also really like this new one. And even though the new one doesn't have the cool skull helmet, he does have like half a metal like plate sticking out of his head, and he's got the ball. I don't know. It's a tough choice. I don't know which one I would go with. But again, it'll be a commander, so we'll probably see if that ever actually happens, at least in my neck of the woods. Maybe you play a lot of commanders, in Kill Team where you are from. Let me know in the comments below if you do. I'd like to hear about it, actually. Then there's the Judicar, who is an amazing looking sculpt, and I would like to bring to Kill Team. Again, probably, if anything, it's going to be a commander, but that one's a little bit more of a, I'm not sure, because there's nothing quite like him in any of these books that I've been going through. Certainly, there's nothing exact, nothing real close. There's things that have roughly the same kind of like strength and toughness and this and that. But as far as like the skills that he's got and the abilities and things like that, that's pretty unique. And so if they do decide to add him to as a playable, commander, it'll be, again, probably, like I said, in Kill Team Annual 2020, I suppose. Then there's the Blade Guard veterans who, and I am sounding a little bit like a broken record here, but they're great sculpts. The difference is, I think that's so interesting about the Primaris in this box, in Indomitus, versus the ones that came out in Dark Imperium at 8th edition, is that these models are so much more ornate. They have so many more knickknacks basically going on as far as the armor is concerned. They got so much extra little whatever. The Primaris that came out in the 8th edition were kind of like, this is their first rodeo. Like, they've just come out of the vats, I guess. I don't know where you get Primaris from, and been shipped from Mars, and then here you go. Now you got a bunch of guys who are way taller than you, and they're in your team now, so have fun with that. And these models now are the ones who've been fighting for a while and have been able to kind of maybe, customize, get battle honors, whatever the deal is. They look awesome. They might be elites. I would prefer to see them in elites, but they have a 3 wounds and 3 attack, and pretty much nothing else in elites has got that for the most part that I could find. So if they end up being in commanders, that would be something, I guess. But as it is, it's kind of as if almost everything in this box up to a certain point is only basically possible for commander, and that would be kind of a bummer. Blade Guard Ancient with the big, huge, awesome banner with the dead guy and the whole, that would be a commander at best. I can't think of any other reason that they would not be an elite. Certainly, it would be another commander possibility. Assault Intercessors. Now these guys I've been waiting for a while because I've wanted hand-to-hand combat, close combat intercessors. I like the guys with the bolt rifles. I love the bolt rifle. I think it's an awesome looking gun and it's pretty powerful. It's got a longer range and all that, and it's great. And I like Reavers a lot, specifically the Reaver Sergeant or whatever, when you make him the combat specialist and then he's got like 5 attacks. But yeah, these, I've been definitely looking forward to these blokes a little bit more. So these will, unless there's something crazy that goes on, these guys will just be a new type of intercessor, like not even necessarily a different data card or whatever. They will just be, you can, do intercessors this way, or you can just swap out this weapon and you get these 2 weapons or whatever the deal is. I mean, there's no reason to make these guys elites. So they should be core, normal, kill team units, probably again, something that we'll either see in a White Dwarf or we'll see it in whatever it's called, Kill Team Annual 2020. Then we've got the Eradicators. Probably elites because they've got some things going on. Number one, they've got that Melta rifle. Melta gun has always historically been a 12-inch range and has that thing where if you shoot and you hit within 6, then you get to roll 2 dice and pick the best or whatever the deal is for your wounds. Or damage or whatever the deal is. It's the Melta rule. You know what it is if you've been playing for a while. This is a Melta rifle, which has got a 24-inch range and also has that same rule, the Melta rule, but it's a 12-inch instead of a 6-inch. So that's pretty gross. Also, for whatever reason, these guys are toughness 5. I guess it could be a typo, but it doesn't seem to be. They haven't said anything yet that I've heard, but they're toughness 5, which is kind of weird. And maybe it's just because they've got these Melta guns and it's a lot hotter, so their armor has to be tougher. I don't know. But because of that, at best, I'm thinking elites. I do not think, there's no reason for these guys to be commanders, in my opinion, but they probably aren't going to be normal core, kill team units either. So most likely an elite. And I got to say, I would take one because they're kind of monstrous. That Melta rifle is something I want to try out. Motorcycles, I do not believe. The Outriders, that's not it. I don't think that's going to be a kill team thing. The original, biker units for Space Marines never ended up in kill teams, so I don't think that these much larger, no clearance having super bicycles are going to do it. So yeah, I don't expect to see any Outriders in kill team unless something really weird happens, like maybe a new expansion. I guess that could happen. I kind of hope it doesn't. Thunder. Now we move into our Necron friends, and we've got ourselves an Overlord who is going to be a commander. He's basically the same as the current Overlord. He's just, again, got some slightly different weapons, like that crazy Tachyon arrow with a 120-inch range. And that would be interesting to use. It's certainly sort of wasteful almost to use like in a kill team game, maybe, in my opinion, but, nonetheless. So your Overlord, which is a great looking sculpt in the new set, that'll be a commander. The Royal Warden, there's nothing really like him currently in kill team for the Necrons. I mean, if we're perfectly honest, there's not that many units for Necrons in kill team. There's the original 4, and then in elites they came out with 2 more, and in commanders they came out with 2 more. So there's not a whole bunch to choose from as is. There are armies that are worse, certainly. But this guy doesn't have any kind of, there's like very little, I looked through pretty much everything, and there's nothing that is really close to him. So most likely he's going to be a commander. He's got that relic Gauss Blaster, which is really interesting, which has got Rapid Fire 2 and a 24-inch range. So that'll be really interesting if that gets transferred over directly into kill team. Doesn't always. A lot of times the weapons that you see, the stats for them in 40k, if you then try to, they don't transfer perfectly into kill team. They may have a different range. They may have a couple different stats and things like that. So if he happens to end up with kill team stats, probably again another commander. Plasmamancer is also going to be a commander, I'm sure, which again, it is a bit of a bummer because he's a super cool sculpt. He's got a definite kind of Night Haunt vibe to him, because he's just kind of floating along on like the very tendrils of his, his weird space outfit, but he doesn't have any feet, and so he's just floaty, and he's got that cool lance, which can be used for both melee and also for, it's got a ranged weapon attached to it. So if they do bring him into kill team, he'll be a commander, I'm pretty sure. as much as I really dig the Skorpek Lord, he's probably not going to be in Kill Team at all. He is massive and does not, that's not a, he's like the size of a dreadnought almost. I mean, he's definitely on a dreadnought size base. He's kind of skinny in comparison to a dreadnought. He's not all shoulders like a dreadnought is, but yeah, that model is not going to be ending up in Kill Team. I'm pretty sure of it. Now the Skorpek destroyers, his smaller pals evidently, potentially could be an elite. I mean, I don't think you could take maybe more than one, maybe, but I don't think so. But like their stat line as I was going through the elites book is actually not too far away in some situations from an Ogren from the Imperial Guard. And those guys are elites. So there's a possibility that you would be able to take one of these as an elite. Possibly it's just like a one choice, so you wouldn't get to take all three of them, certainly. But it would be kind of cool to see that guy as an elite. Those things are all close combat. They don't have any range really. And they are, yeah, they're also great sculpts. And I would love to see them just kind of go a bit ham with those phase thresher things and see what they could do as they're kind of cutting through, I don't know, let's say some Imperial Guard, maybe some Eldar, Sisters of Battle. That'd be interesting. The plasma sights are weird. They are basically an add-on to the Skorpek destroyers in regular 40k in this book. So that wouldn't really happen. That doesn't really transfer when you get to Kill Team. There's not a lot of add-ons. I mean, drones, I guess, maybe in Tau. That may be a thing. Otherwise, I think they might even just completely scrap their stat line a little bit and just make them a different type of unit. If they did, because they're sort of small, I would suspect they would probably not even be elites. They'd most likely be like a regular, core Kill Team unit. I would like to see them bring them in because I always want to see more units in Kill Team, but I don't exactly know what they would have to do to make them work within the Kill Team framework. The Crypto Thralls are kind of in the same boat. They are a really interesting sculpt. They're not an automatic add-on. It's not like in 40k, like I said, the previous guys, the plasma sites, they can only be in a unit of Skorpek destroyers. They can't just be on the board by themselves. The Crypto Thralls can do, kind of independent stuff, and they're cool looking models. So I do hope they figure out a way to bring them into Kill Team. Again, probably hopefully as a core unit and not something like elites. The Canoptic Reanimator. Canopect? I think it's Canoptic. Anyway, it's massive. I mean, it's not, like a Imperial Knight massive, but he's tall. He's maybe not quite as tall as a can of Monster, but like he's a big dude. And he's not, I don't see him being in a Kill Team. He's kind of in the same boat as the Skorpek Lord. That guy's a bit more squat. This guy's just a lot taller and skinnier. But again, both big models, probably not going to see them in Kill Team because I don't know how many points they would even possibly be. That would be massive. Maybe a commander, I guess. They could almost be like the Broodlord or the Patriarch or something like that, where you're like looking at potentially a 200-point model by itself. Maybe, but I don't know. I don't think that would work super well in the Kill Team setup. Necron Warriors, obviously they're going to be normal core Kill Team like they've been in the past. The only difference between these new Necron Warrior sculpts is you have the potential for a new gun. So that's something to look at. They'll probably just republish their data slates or whatever saying you can either go with this gun or that gun. It's a shorter range. It's like a 14-inch range, and it is more powerful, but I cannot for the life of me remember. Gauss Reaper. I did know that, actually. I just forgot. But the Gauss Reaper is a new weapons option, whereas the Warriors have never had a weapons option before, really. So this will be hopefully something you'll be able to bring for a little bit more punch, but at a closer range. And then lastly, the Canoptic Scarab Swarms, which frankly I had forgotten weren't in Kill Team. Like they've been such a unit that's been around for so long in regular 40k. I did not realize. I guess again I didn't have any in my Necron Kill Team, but I do hope they bring them in as regular core units in Kill Team. I think that would be an interesting addition to be able to bring in, especially if their point cost is relatively cheap. It'd be fun to have them in there kind of scuttling around as you're playing, on the board and trying to get them to flank around and come by, get from behind. I have these ideas of robot bugs, and I'm all for it. So that's my, I don't want to say predictions, but my ideas of potentially what happens with the kill team versions of the models that come in the new Indomitus box. I'm hoping that I'm right, honestly, on a bunch of these. I hope that we do get to see these models, although to be fair, I also kind of actually hope that some of them become more elites versus commanders, because I'm much more likely to play them that way. So if you've got any ideas, if you think that I'm off base, let me know in the comments below. If there's some other model out there in the current kill team line that is very much like one of these models, and you say, well, actually, let us know, because I'm not always right. So yeah, I just hope that the information for this stuff comes out. In a perfect world, I would love them to release after the release of Indomitus. I'd love them to release a PDF that's just like, here's all the kill team stats for them, kind of like they did for like Blackstone Fortress and things like that. I would love for them to do that. I have a suspicion they may not, but we'll see. Hopefully we'll find out sooner versus later. So if you're interested in playing Kill Team and you're also interested in getting this box, this Indomitus box, I keep pointing over there because it's literally my hobby desk is right over there. You can't really see. I'm zoomed in a lot more. Hopefully I'll be back in the studio next week. But if you're interested in the Indomitus box, you're going to be getting it and taking a look at it and going, can I not just use this for 40k, but maybe also for Kill Team? Hopefully this helps you to make that decision a little bit better. If you want to watch me paint some of the Necrons from this Indomitus kit, and eventually probably also some of the Space Marines, then give me a follow here, if you would, on twitch.tv/tabletopminions. I am currently hobbying on Friday mornings, starting around 10 a.m. Central Time. But I'm also, I hobbied this past Monday night and had a good time. And so maybe that Monday night becomes a thing for a while. I mean, most of us aren't really going anyplace at night because, pandemic and all that. So might as well stream. So if you get the chance, come by, check it out. Get a follow in there so that you get notified when I go live. And hopefully I'll see you on the stream.